let's break down into what PFN mocked for the New York Giants. Because listen, I love it when another content creator or website does it, because it's interesting to see where they line what we're saying. We pretty much have had number one pick quarterback, basically, I think every single mock draft, if I remember correctly. We sprinkled in some defenders, defensive linemen, edge rushers, a power back of some kind, somebody for the offensive line, just because I think you should draft at least one offensive lineman every year. Looking at you, Joe Shane, you skipped it last year. And, try to get a corner somewhere, that kind of stuff. So let's see if they're in line with us here. So, first off, pick 3, the big one, the big cheese, the big honcho. Travis Hunter, cornerback / wide receiver / athlete. I don't know what you're going to call him. Like, that's like a college football thing, I know. Like, when you draft them out of high school, they're athletes. But that's what I feel like this kid is basically being drafted like. But PFN says the New York Giants are one of a couple of landing spots where Travis Hunter may be able to play both ways. The Giants need playmakers on both sides of the ball, and Hunter would provide that option. He will most likely be a full-time defensive player and then see some offensive snaps in certain situations. The athleticism and versatility that Hunter offers are tantalizing. He is so good with the ball in his hands. It'll be tempting to play him as much as possible. Any team drafting him will need to be smart playing, because playing 1,500 snaps is close to impossible in the modern NFL. As a rookie, Hunter could also be valuable special teams option, playing on defense and then having a couple of packages a game on offense. First off, I'm very proud of myself for not giggling like a little child for half the things they just said in that thing, but it is funny. But I think that overall, again, I get it. There's a lot of people like, I feel like people have this idea that, like, oh, you draft Travis Hunter, you just solve 2 problems in one.
Yeah, what's he gonna rest? Like,
Yeah.
On the regular, you take players out on a drive. Yeah,
Well, that's what they're saying. They're
he's
saying
gonna
bring him
play
in for
nonstop.
passing. That's what they're saying. Bring him for passing situations. Don't have him as a full-time receiver. Like, most people that I hear talking about him think full-time corner and a guy you can put in. Ironically enough, kind of like Deion Sanders in his Cowboy days. Obviously Deion was his head coach, so it's kind of, the irony is definitely not lost on most people, I think. But that's where they have met. And
Yeah,
I don't know. To me, you find a spot that works, and then later on in his career, if you want to do that. You can't be having him splitting time between offensive, defensive meetings. You find your spot, you fine tune him, and then from there, once he's really good, then you can decide what you want to do. Which, by the way,
yeah,
as I mentioned Deion before, is exactly what Deion did. He didn't play offense in San Francisco or Atlanta. He played it in Dallas. And I think Baltimore as well a little bit too later on. This is his last spot. And I think also in Washington when he was a commander, or, the other name they had back then. But to me, it's like you're trying to develop him and you're doing him no services if he's an average corner and an average wide receiver, if he had the potential to be great in one of them.
yeah.
So, like, again, I've said it before. I think people kind of look at him as the Otani of NFL, because now you got a guy that was a great pitcher and hitter at the same time. People just assume that, this is going to be the football version. It's a difference, because there's a lot more meeting rooms and everything for guys who are, football players. When it comes to baseball, and I'm not trying to demean the sport whatsoever, guys. Like, it's a skill, it's difficult. I'm not trying to say if it was easy, I'd be playing it professionally myself right now, making millions of dollars, and not be with you all right
Especially
now.
with that salary.
But let's be honest when we sit there and say that if you're a hitter, your big thing is, especially if you're a DH and I'm playing defense, you're just spending a bunch of time in the cage perfecting your swing, making sure you're doing the work like that, as you should. It's not like it is with all the drills, the motions, the movements, all that stuff you have on football, all the tape you have to watch in football. There's a lot more work into being a football player. No offense, but the greatest football player of all time was not living off of beer and hot dogs like Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Just saying. Unless you want to go Barry Bonds. He was living off the cream of the clear right here. Anyway, like I said,
He definitely put a little extra sauce on his bagel, if you will, in the morning.
Like I said, that's what I would do personally. If you're going to draft Travis Hunter, you better like him as one of those positions, and you think he's going to be elite at one of those positions, and then you can put him in later on. If he's going to be an elite wide receiver in your eyes, make him a wide receiver. Then go ahead and give him the chance to go ahead and play some corner in diamond nickel packages as well once he perfects being a receiver. If you think he's going to be an excellent elite corner, then make him your corner. And then later on for a few years, give him a chance to go into some packages for offense. To me, you're going to ruin him if you try both, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Depends on who gets them, because there's going to be some coaching staffs that know how to work with it. There'll be some that won't. The problem is when you go top 5, usually it's the ones that won't.
There's a reason why you're getting a top 5 pick.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So next up, round 2, pick 34. Harold Fennin Jr., tight end at a Bowling Green. They say, this is PFN again, it says, New York Giants have never found a replacement for Evan Ingram, and this has sometimes affected their offensive play. Pause real quick on that. Have you seen how many drops we had last year? We definitely replaced Evan Ingram in multiple ways.
Especially just because Evan Ingram's playing a lot better in Jacksonville. I mean,
the ghost of Evan Ingram is still all over MetLife Stadium. Don't you worry. Anyway, game on. They've had playmakers at all the other offensive positions in the past 3 years, but not at wide receiver. That's what it says here. I think they mean tight end, because this is a tight end we're drafting in this scenario.
Yeah.
Drafting Harold Fennin Jr. could fix that immediately. He's a dynamic, explosive tight end who plays with the power and versatility of a Deebo Samuel type weapon. Though he may not fit the traditional mold at his position, his rocked up frame, sudden burst, and elite contact balance make him a nightmare for defenders. Blocking is his weakness and will limit his utility in the position. Yeah. So, I don't know about y'all, but I am never a fan of drafting a tight end in the first couple rounds. It is such a crapshoot. It's not even funny. To me, when you draft, you need the first couple picks, the day 1, the day 2 picks, to be solid. You could take all the gambles you want in the day 3. I could not care less. Take your gambles. Take your big swings, because every so often you're going to hit a home run. And let's be honest, when you go ahead and get the guys in the 5th, 6th round and all, half those guys won't make it past your rookie deal. They don't even make it through their rookie deal, a lot of those guys. Some of those guys don't even make it out of camp the first year.
Sometimes, yeah. But
take your shots.
I'm going to typically agree with you, but not 100% of the time, because, like, if you find that dude, I mean, look at Brock Bowers. Just saying.
Yeah.
Dude's a stud. He's worth the first round pick for the Raiders.
For every Brock Bowers, for every single one of them, there's a Pitts.
I was going to say. But, I mean.
And that's the thing. This is the problem. I don't mind taking a risk at quarterback, corner, edge, tackle, positions that are also not 100%, give them kind of things, because nothing is in the draft. Those are premium positions. Tight end is not a premium position. There are not many teams in the NFL that are winning because of their tight end. And don't get me wrong, you can say the Ravens, you can say the Chiefs. There's a couple teams you can sit there and say that better. I'm not saying nobody is. But that's not the way you're typically building a roster. And there's very few tight ends that are worthy of what they're doing. If you went back and drafted these guys all over again saying, that's a 2nd round talent, that's a 1st round talent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. The guys who succeeded, by the way, at those positions are usually 4th round picks.
I was going to say 3rd or 4th round. It's usually typically where I would say, because, like, if you're taking a late 3rd round pick and you're taking a tight end, you think it's a dude, I 100% agree with that. Like, you're also going to find some solid tight ends in early 5th round. So,
yeah. Not to mention, did I forget we have Theo Johnson here? Because they seem to have forgotten that. They're acting like we don't have a tight end. And don't get me wrong, Theo Johnson, I'm not saying is the second coming of Travis Kelce, but he had a decent rookie year. I can't sit there and say I'm giving up on him after one season when he got injured. Didn't start much off, but had a nice little stretch there before the injury where he was starting to kind of, feel his groove. He was kind of like Stella and got his groove back there. I'm just saying, like, I would run another year with Johnson. Now, if you want to say, okay, you know what? There's a big cap hit on Bellinger. I'm probably need to get another one to replace him. Then fine. Go ahead and do that. But you don't replace him in the second round. Replace him fourth, fifth. So, like I said, I think that's a bit of a stretch for what I would do, especially for a team that has a whole bunch of holes. I understand that if you're like in a team where you're just picking BPA, the Giants are going to basically play BPA that fits a hole. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to go for anybody, but they're going to go for whoever's the best that happens to fill a need in a hole. So, round 3. Speaking of guys that definitely fill needs and holes here.
Yeah, ayo.
Pick 65. Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. Now, PFN said, having missed out on the top 2 quarterbacks, the Giants finally get their signal caller in Jackson Dart. Whether they also add a veteran to start in 2025 is yet to be seen, but Dart has developmental potential. He's a natural leader and playmaker, which is a great starting point. Dart elevates his team with pinpoint passes, sharp reads, and trust in his receivers. He excels at exploiting man coverage, finding matchups, and winning 50-50 plays. While his game has a few flaws, he sometimes locks into downfield too long, risking ball security. Those daring throws into tight coverage might not always succeed against NFL corners, but with his full skill set, Dart has the tools to thrive in the NFL. Yeah, First off, Jackson Dart is not going to be there at pick 65. If he does,
I got it.
I feel like there's going to be an issue somewhere. Like, I don't know. Did he pull like a Laramie Tunsil and get, caught with a gas mask full of marijuana the day before the draft, or Laurel Collins and get questioned about a murder? Like, something big happened if he's dropping in the third round. I'm sorry. I don't think, again, we talked about the quarterbacks earlier in the show, how Ward and Shedeur Sanders are going to be top 5, top 10 guys, even though they have the talent of a mid-first round pick. Well, Jackson Dart is probably a second, third. He's a day 2 style quarterback. I think Dart will probably get towards the end of the first round, personally. And I think it's going to be because, again, a quarterback needy team and not a lot of quarterbacks. Now you tell me Jalen Milroe falls to the round. Okay, that's possible. You tell me you want to go ahead and take a risk on him in the third round. Okay, I'm game for that. Third round, not first or second. But I also don't plan on him, that's for sure, because I don't think he's that good. Sometimes you got to take a risk. That's life. So
sometimes you got to go for a backup.
Exactly.
But we need a first string.
But that's a fairy tale. Jackson Dart at 65, absolute fairy tale.
Yeah.
PFN that actually had a trade. They traded the Giants had traded number pick 104 to the Steelers in exchange for 122, 163, and 238. So we dropped down 18 spots, half a round. And in the end, we end up getting 2 additional picks out of it. I would take that. We got a lot. Like I said, we got a lot of holes to fill. I would take that kind of offer. With the 122nd draft pick there, round 4, Giants took Elijah Roberts, defensive tackle at SMU. This is from 33rd team. Elijah Roberts is a dense, powerful defender with the requisite length to play as a point of attack defender at the NFL level. He boasts some surprisingly versatility with the usage at SMU, being charged with rushing from a 3 tackle to standing up, 3 technique to standing up, and rushing from 2-point stances off the edge. He'll be best served as a base end to play over tackles and help generate knockback to set the edge. Roberts is a powerful player with good linear force. His hands are active and stiff. This isn't necessarily a featured pass rush talent, but he has shown a spatial feel for creases, and SMU successfully turned him loose on stunts and as a crash defender to attack gaps. So, yeah, Not a bad player to get in the 4th round, I say. And this is a huge spot for the not just the Giants, but for the NFL as a whole right now, because a lot of teams are looking at defensive line help, and this is the year to get it. And I'm not saying the first round. There's gonna be some guys in the first round to go, but 3rd, 4th round, those days, there's gonna be some defensive tackles swarming off the board like you don't usually see, because there's a lot of guys that fall in that category. And when you get a lot of people that fall in that category, typically what's going to happen is people are going to go, oh, I got 3 or 4 guys I would take. Next pick. And then eventually someone takes one.
And then you go on a run.
One. And then you go in the run because everybody gets paranoid. They're not going to get the one they wanted. So that'll happen. Watch it happen this year. And we're on the show and it happens. And I'm like, I was right. Unless it's day 3, because I said if it's round 4, we're not going to be on day 3. Anyway, next one they got is a projected compensatory pick in the 4th round. So that's pick 134. They got us taking Pat Bryant, wide receiver to Illinois. Bleacher Report says overall, Pat Bryant projects a well-rounded perimeter wide receiver. He is effective inside as a power slot in multiple wide receiver sets. His plus level run blocking and effort will put him in coach's good gracing. Bryant can be an adequate wide receiver 3 in an NFL offense. Keyword Ken.
Could be
Ken. I think and again, he's a guy we're picking at the 4th round here. If he's a 4th or 5th, even, he's just a legitimate NFL receiver that provides you something. That's a win. But we say all the time when it comes to day 3 picks, there's guys who are very, very talented, maybe not football IQ, and there's guys that are football IQ, maybe not the most athletically gifted. He definitely falls in that latter category. Doesn't have what you would consider true NFL speed, that's for sure. So the question is going to be, can he make up for that at the next level with his route running? It's a possibility. Let's say hypothetically the Giants do, I hate to portray this rumor anymore. Let's say the Giants do happen to get Cooper Kupp. This Matt Stafford stuff actually does come out to be true. Well, Cooper Kupp is one hell of a route runner. Be a really good guy to have to teach some of these kids. I've been saying forever, since this whole thing happened, Wan'Dale Robinson would benefit the most, probably anybody in this roster. But there's another guy, Pat Bryant, if we got him. So round 5, pick 155. Teddy Buchanan, linebacker out of Cal. Draft Network says Teddy Buchanan operates with a high-level motor and a hunger for the football that consistently sees him arrive as the first man to contact. Transferred to California from UC Davis, where Buchanan evolved into one of the Big Sky Conference's premier defenders. And that's one of those it is what it is kind of scenarios, guys. Listen, it's hard to get psyched up for a day 3 linebacker. Let's be honest, he would start off at special teams until we get injured. Then he'd be playing starting because that's the way we go. But like I said, he's a guy that I don't think you'd expect anything crazy out of. You just see how he develops, but you start him off as a special teamer. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So
pretty much.
Another round 5 pick, 163, Carson Vincent, offensive tackle out of Alabama A&M. And this is from 3013. Vincent boasts desirable balance and center of gravity when playing unattached to defenders and will inspire confidence in his ability to mirror once he gets some of his footwork lapses cleaned up. With nearly an 84-inch wingspan, Vincent's strike zone and area of influence as a blocker are massive. And there's a lot of people that I know talked about him as one of those kind of developmental guys, that if you have a way to stash him on the line, give him a year or two to develop without playing him. Like, don't put him out there because you need some time. He's from Alabama A&M, not Alabama.
Yeah.
But they're saying give him a chance and he might develop into something. You know what I say? You can say that about half the people in the damn draft.
It's usually why they're going to the draft, because you think there could be something.
So, yeah, I'm not going to be too high on him. But again, need tackles, need big bodies. Our offensive line depth is an issue. So if you think you got somebody who can be a good depth piece, then go for it. Round 7, pick 221. Isis Waxter, cornerback out of Villanova. This is the College Sports Network on MSN said Waxter has the ability to play at the next level, but he would need to develop and improve. Reports that he helped himself out with a good showing in the week leading up to the Shrine Bowl. His stats don't jump off the page at you, but he did well defending passes in 2023, and as a result, saw less targets in 2024. Again, you want to bring a secondary guy as he develops? There's not much we can say. I'll take it. No complaints. Round 7, pick 238. Damian Martinez, running back out of Miami. Of Florida, not Ohio. Bleacher reports that overall Damian Martinez is an adequate starting running back for gap scheme teams. He's best suited for attacking the line of scrimmage downhill, where his patience and vision can lead to success. He can be the lead running back of a power rushing attack, which would be pretty crazy to get a guy who has the potential to be a lead running back in a 7th round pick. I think that I'm going to say as BS with a capital B and a capital S. But I will say this. He's a bigger guy. He goes downhill. This is exactly what I've been looking for every single mock draft we do, to go ahead and pair up with Tyrone Tracy, who is obviously, again, a converted wide receiver, a little smaller side. I want a big running back. I think it'd help him, help Tracy. Imagine you're getting beat, and there comes a speedy guy. Or you get the speedy guy and you're tired of running him down, and all of a sudden this big guy comes and just bulldozes you.
Yeah, pretty much you're used to hitting the guy that's, 30, 40 pounds less.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you try to hit this guy that's, outweighing you. And
we need a little thunder and lightning. We got just lightning right now. We need some thunder.
Yeah. A little thunder, a little lightning. Yeah.
So last pick they had, round 7, 248. Gerard Christian Lichtenham. Probably mispronouncing his name a little bit. Lichtenham. I can't say his name right. You know who he is. The tackle for Oregon State. Let's be honest, you don't know who he is. He's a 7th round pick. SB Nation's Turf Showtime says possible developmental player for right tackle, massive size with 36-inch arms and 10-inch hands. Stand out at the Shrine Bowl and earned good football focus grades at both Oregon State and Colorado. Moves well for being so tall. I have a draftable grade in this prospect and will have a deeper look in the future. Now, Turf Showtime, by the way, that we're quoting there is the SB Nation's Rams coverage. It's their version of the Big Blue View. So they're looking at him as a potential guy you can get late in the draft or as a possible even undrafted rookie free agent. He's being drafted in that line. I can't complain. Overall, there's not much I can complain in this draft overall, except for the fact that there's no way in hell Jackson Dart will be there in the 3rd round, and taking a tight end in the 2nd round is just ridiculous.
Yes, a lot of hopes and dreams there.
There's a lot of hopes and dreams there. Travis Hunter, very well possible at pick 3. I won't complain about that one, though I want a quarterback. But in their scenario, they didn't say it otherwise, but they said at one point have missed out the top 2 quarterbacks. So I have to assume in their mock, we did not get a chance to get Ward or Sanders, which is very possible. We are pick 3.
Yeah.
No guarantee we get one of those 2. So
if you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.